Hello, everybody. My name is Amanda Pua Walsh, and I am here with Anne Ortelee, Predictive Astrologer. I am broadcasting to you live from the slopes of Haleakala on Maui, and Anne is in New York City. And we were just commenting on how cool it is that the light is coming in.
We both have sunlight, yeah.
Exactly. I'm having the sunrise, and she's getting ready for her sunset. So welcome, everybody. It's great to be here with you. We are going to go through the current astrological weather beginning essentially today-ish. We might go a little bit back.
Monday, then we'll go, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the way through to Tuesday of next week. And of course, we might go a little bit further than that too. But just to keep you in tune with what's happening astrologically, and then to provide as many tips as possible to help you work with the energies that we are all navigating together.
Right.
So, Anne, take it away. Let's start with, I guess, yesterday. Let's tune into
Okay, well, actually, we're going to do Saturday because Saturday, Saturn, the planet that's kind of in charge of our structures and our daily routines, went into the sign of Aquarius, where he's only going to be for a couple of months. But he kind of shifted from the structure into the group energy. And it really started making everybody think, okay, I'm more in groups. I've had people emailing me, you want to join the group? We're doing this here for the group of Astrology Hug. I keep calling it Astrology Hug, but it's actually Astrology Hub. But it's a way to hug you with the astrology. So Saturn going into it saying to you, okay, find your group, find your tribe, find your people, and now we're going to work with that. And then on Monday, Mars came Saturn. Now Mars is the planet of action and getting everything going. And Mars came to Pluto on Monday, and he amplifies everything. Now when Mars hits Pluto, we all go, wow, and we get like a burst of energy. But Mars is fortunately in a really nice sign. He's in his exaltation, which is one of his favorite places to be, in Capricorn. So he's strategic and he thinks, but he's joining up with Pluto, so starting to do the transformation that we talked about last week, where we really feel like, if we're turning from a caterpillar into a butterfly, we're really starting to begin the metamorphosis. And he's going to be working with Pluto all year long to help us do this change, but this is the initiating energy. So if you guys look at what happened this week in terms of figuring out stuff, or things coming to you or realizing things, Friday and Sunday, Monday, and you went, oh, okay. Now what we had this morning, Tuesday morning, we had a new moon in Eris. We get a new moon in our chart in a different house. So Eris is the initiating energy of springtime in the northern hemisphere. It's the fall in the southern, but as the sun has now eked a little bit above the equator, the sun and the moon are getting together and they're saying, okay, we're going to bring you a story. So as of today, we're all starting, and you and I are starting this podcast that will, is designed to help people navigate what's going on. And then what we do is we watch how the planets move during the week. And, there's a saying, as above, so below, as without, so within. And so it's very important to remember that when we're looking to the planets for guidance and we're looking at them and saying, okay, so what do you think is going to happen? When there are these kind of configurations, it's big stuff, because Mars Pluto is, I'm going to take action and I'm going to transform you enormously. Happens every 2 years. We get it every 2 years. So it's not like, but the point is this year, there's 4 big planets all lined up getting activated, right? And one of them is Jupiter, which is abundance. One of them is Saturn, which is the life. One of them is Pluto, which is the transformation of your life. And then there's a little outlier named Eris, who was discovered in 2005 by the Hubble telescope. And she's the goddess of discord, but she's also the goddess of change. So she brings into the story, and she's getting activated this week. So I was talking to a good friend of mine who works at New York Presbyterian Hospital, number 5 in the country, number 1 in the city. And they got them coming in, and she runs a section of the hospital. And she said, my Eris is up, which is the goddess of discord. My anger button is really getting pushed. Now, remember last week we talked about the stages that we go through when we're going through a big crisis. First, there's denial, there's bargaining, there's depression, anger. And then we get to acceptance. So this week, we're going to get mad and, or we're going to get angry. And so you want to kind of watch when it comes up, like, oh, okay, because the planets are in Aries, the moon's in Aries, Mars, it's going through Aries, the sun's in Aries. So those are very feisty little energies. So you may find you're running a little more fiery, more passionate, more, I got to be me. But it also is the energy of saying, okay, I can take action in this, and so kind of a blend of the two. So if you're feeling angry, I told the story. Mom was a fire. She was a Leo, and there were three of us, and three kids in the house, and she would get mad, and she would go, "I'm going out," and she would go and get in her car and go for a drive, and then we would all go, "Oh, we got her really bad," and then she would come back, and it would be like, okay. So when you feel the anger coming this week, or you may find yourself kind of erupting, it's part of what the sky is doing, particularly on Tuesday and Wednesday. And so talk to me, Amanda. Feel free to interrupt. I can get very long-winded.
I love it. I love it. Get in this flow. I got
I get in this. Just wave your finger that you have a question.
And well, just one of the things I wanted to bring up here is the importance of us working with this anger. Okay, allowing
the energy,
the angry energy to come through, but to find constructive outlets for it. Mm-hmm. And also, one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because the children are feeling it too.
Yes.
And I've noticed this, and so they're starting to get mad, and so one of the things I said to one of my daughters is, well, we're practicing like pounding pillows and screaming into pillows
and drumming.
I'm with your mom. I mean, one of my best outlets has been the car, because you can scream in the car and nobody hears it. And right now we can't really go anywhere, but we
can go in our car.
Go into the car and then come back. But it's, finding these as much as possible, because what can happen, we can erupt on each other, which we don't necessarily want to do. I mean, maybe there's certain places in your life where it needs to happen, and then it's kind of like, okay, it's happening. But you kind of, I don't know. I personally don't want to be yelling at my kids all day, or, yelling at the people that we love. Right. So working with the anger in as constructive ways as possible. And I like what you're saying about action, because it seems like taking any sort of action. I mean, obviously we can't do too much right now. It's not like we can go to the gym and, run on the treadmill when we're feeling upset. So it's, finding creative outlets and solutions for ways to feel like we can channel that energy. Right. And it sounds like we're going to be with it for a while, right? Like,
well, we're going to have it, the Mars is going to go back and forth over these planets a few times. So we're going to have it a few times. Yeah. But this is
a few times this year?
Yeah, all summer long. When we said we're going to be doing this for a while. But, because what Venus triggered all this stuff when she was in Aries, and she came to square all these Capricorn countries, all these Capricorn planets, and planets in the sign of Capricorn. And they move. Somebody asked something about being in Capricorn. The planets move. And so they've been in Capricorn, which is the structures. And Aquarius is the transformation or the breakdown of the structures. So when Venus came to square them, two big Venusian countries, Taurus, Italy, and Spain, both of which are known for love and music and dancing and really amazing food, very Venusian places, this virus. So now we're going to watch as the sun and the moon go through there and activate it this next month. And then all summer from June through January, Mars is going to go through there. So Mars is a story that we're really going to work with. But it's real important to know, as he hits this energy, which he's doing now through next week, he started last Thursday, and he kind of builds up. Mars always takes action a little bit before he gets to the planet. So, but Mars is loaded right now. He's got Saturn in him, he's got Pluto in him, and he's like, I'm looking for a fight. So we have to kind of go, okay, you're looking for a fight. How about you clean your closet? How about you, dance and scream and yell in your living room, and then get it out of your body. And then when we get to Thursday and Friday, it calms down a little bit, right? Because that's Taurus. Venus is in Taurus, the moon's in Taurus, Venus is in Taurus now. Everybody will be a little cuddly. They'll want to cook a little more. They'll want to kind of hang out. And then when we get to the weekend, it's a little more teary, a little more crying, or a little more needing to be in a spiritual place because the moon will be in Gemini. And as it's coming up to, it comes up and it has an aspect with Neptune. So it's a good time to play music or to listen to music or to, kind of do creative poetry reading or journaling. So we have these kind of three phases. So Aries is take action, go, go, go. Taurus is chocolate and good food and wine and, luxuries, give each other pedicures, have a spa day, everybody paint each other's nails. Moon is a little of this, a little of that, reading, storytelling, dramatic art. So my cousin, of course, has 3 kids and they're all home and they're in the 10 to 15, 16 range. And so they're having theme nights at their house. And so, everybody gets to pick a movie. And, Jack agreed to let his sister pick the movie because it was his birthday, but it was her day to pick the movie. So he was like, okay, you can pick the movie. He turned 10. So it's understanding that'll be a little more negotiable and a little more chatty when we get to the weekend. But the next couple days, very intense. And so honoring that intensity is really important, right? Because
so we're going anger to like sensuality or, indulging in things that feel good, comfort things, to highly emotional over the week. Okay. And then tell us about next week.
What happens when we get into next week? The beginning part of the week, we're still doing Gemini. So we do Aries on the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. And then we go into Taurus Thursday morning, Friday, Saturday. And then Saturday night, we go into Gemini, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we're in Gemini kind of, which is more chatty. Mars changes sign next week and he goes into Aquarius. So he becomes a little more group oriented where people are going to figure out what they're doing on a group level. But this week he's very much stimulating the planets of drama and eruption. So if we look at the, what are we on today? We're on the 24th. So we talked about the Mars-Pluto conjunction yesterday. So the 23rd has Mars aspecting Pluto and kind of pushing us, that's Monday, kind of pushing us into a place and asking us to make some choices.
Are you talking about yesterday, Monday?
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about that Mars-Pluto because he hits, and once he hits something, he says, okay, I'm initiating a new cycle. So he hit it, East Coast time around 1:20 in the morning and around 3:58 in the morning. So adjust for your time zone. So it would have been Sunday night for you. But for everybody, in Australia, it would have been during the day, right? So then, and tell me if you want a different format. We're trying something new here, folks. So if you like it, write in. If you don't, go, I didn't really like that part. We also face choices. Then we have that lovely new moon today, which was this morning bright and early. So today's kind of ramp up, and then tomorrow on the 25th, everybody gets very cranky. We feel very wounded. People are going to be arguing about their wound, or, and we all have a wound in our chart or an area. So you're going to watch your vulnerability wake up. And
for people and read it, where would you say?
You would look at your natal Chiron and you would look at where the sun is, because the sun is coming to illuminate Chiron. They're meeting up, saying, okay, let's go. It's very young, though. It's a very primal energy. It's only 5 years old. So, and I find this very helpful. Like if you look at your planets in your chart and the little degree sign like the oven has, that degree describes how old that planet is. So when you're having an emotion that you're kind of trying to process or work with as we're going through this solitary process, think about, okay, how old do I feel right now? And then you look in your chart and you go, oh, I feel 5, and who's at 5? And you'll see maybe, in this case, it'll be the sun is at 5. So it's going to activate everything in your planet at 5 years old. And so what we do is, we go, I feel like I'm 10, or I feel like I'm 19, I got to go get naked. I got to go party, oh, I'm 3 again. Like kind of watch as you bounce around in the chart, because you're going to bounce from planet to planet. All the planets in your chart are people, and they're all at different ages, right? And if you think of them as people at that age, like I have a 4-year-old Venus. She's a very nice Venus, but she's only 4, so she makes the decisions of a 4-year-old. So my 18-year-old Virgo sun goes to the Venus. I don't really think that's a good person for you to date. But my Venus goes, but I wanna. And my Virgo sun goes, no, you're not. You've dated that before. You're not going to date that again, right? So you think of your planets as people, it helps you kind of go figure them out. But this, when we have a thing in the sky that meets up like this, it's going to trigger everybody's inner 5-year-old, just because the planets are at 5. And they're going to say, what was the wound you had at 5, and where you were really frustrated and you didn't feel seen or supported or helped somehow. Or you had to take action, and it's triggering up some old abandonment stuff or some sense of you're in this alone. And in that case, that's the anger popping, that's the Mars popping. So we want to go, oh, I'm feeling that way. Great. This is what they talked about. Now where we're going to go. So you have an assistant, Jamie, and her daughter, listens to this kind of stuff on my podcast. And, she said it helped her through high school, dealing with, this Tuesday is going to be a day where everybody's a little more tense, and then nicer towards the weekend. So, and again, we may not, we're trying things with this. So if people go, no, I didn't like it. When we get to the 26th, we have a lot of action that day, because a number of planets are activated, and the ones that are about the anger. So we're going to kind of erupt, get mad, get erupt, and then want to ground it when we get to the end of the 26th and the 27th, and say, okay, let me bring it back down to earth.
And just one more thing on the anger that I wanted to mention.
Anger or action. I can do action. Yeah.
I was speaking with a friend who was feeling really guilty because she doesn't have the energy and or is getting frustrated. And so she has children at home as well. And she feels like she should be doing this really structured. Okay, now we have playtime, and then we have lunchtime, and then we have story. And she was feeling really guilty that she's not doing that at all. And I was like, stop. I mean, do not put that don't put that on yourself right now. You need to honor where you're at. And so it's about, I love what astrology does, because it's giving you permission to feel all those emotions now with it. Right. But don't layer on guilt and shame on top of all that, thinking you shouldn't be feeling that way, because that just makes it way worse. So.
And the word should is Saturn word. It's shoulders. I should do this. When you hear yourself say that, or you shame yourself, or you guilt yourself, or you feel afraid, all those are Saturn words. So that means Saturn's working in his lower vibration. You really should, you got these kids, you should really do this. And she's probably watching Instagram or something like that, where they're
you see the little memes with here's our daily schedule. It's oh my God.
And she can't do it, and that's okay. That's where she is. But it's understanding when we look outside, we have to really kind of say, where am I? And so part of her journey here is to go, it's okay for me not to be able to do it. I'm going to reference my mom again. When we were little, my mother is not a morning person. And every now and then some mother would guilt her into getting up and making us breakfast. And we were all very independent, made our breakfast, made our toast. We had Carnation instant breakfast. I'm going to date myself, milkshake thing made. My mother would get up and she would cook us eggs and toast. And then she'd go, okay, I cooked it. You have to eat it. And we'd be like, what? No, go back to bed. Who's making you feel guilty that you're doing this with us, right? And she would send us out the door, with toast in hand, and I would feed it to the dog, and she'd do it for about a week, and then she'd go back to bed, because she was not a morning person. And we all were perfectly capable of getting ourselves up and off to school. That said, watching and hearing what they're doing is not a good thing. If it's inspirational, yes. If it makes you feel guilty, ashamed, humiliated, humble, and then you shouldn't be doing it. or you should look at that and go, is that really, am I that kind of mom?
Right. Exactly. I know.
And your kids might hate it. Like we were like, Mom, go back to bed, man. Leave
Yeah.
us alone in the morning. You're
Totally.
mean. You know, she was a fire sign. She was like, you know, and she'd yell and we'd all be like, I want to eat toast. And the dog would follow us out and we'd feed it to, you know, it wasn't leash laws back then either. Feed the toast to the dog.
The way I do it is I just say, you know, like girls, I don't have any more patience. Like I am literally out of patience. So don't push it, you know? And they know that I hit the wall. They call it Mama hit the wall.
Mama hit the wall.
Around like 8 or 9 at night when I have nothing. Like I don't have any more to give.
I've been drained. Yeah.
Like, Mama, did you hit the wall? And then we, you know, they start acting it out and like pretending like they're hitting the wall. I'm like, yes, I hit the wall.
And it's a comedy routine, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have to acknowledge, again, it's acknowledging where you're at so that you're not layering all kinds of other stuff on top of it about how you should be showing up. So as we're working with Saturn throughout this whole year, these are all the kinds of lessons that are coming up. It's not just the fear and it's not just the structure. It's not just the discipline. It's also these other kinds of things that people don't necessarily talk about around Saturn as much. Right,
because we think of Saturn, it's your work, it's your karma, it's your all that, but he's also the fear and the anxiety, and he's the hard place. And because all these planets are clumped together in his sign, and they're all hanging out together, they're all kind of like a bad gang in your chart, in the sense of they can do bad stuff, but they can also do brilliant stuff.
Right.
So but when they're working in their lower, they're going to be like, I feel like such a failure. I feel like I'm so horrible or whatever. And you have to just kind of go, that's Saturn talking, and he's talking trash to you. And you need to say to Saturn, hush up, go away. I'm going to go take a nap, or I'm going to go pound some drums, or I'm going to go and stand in my bedroom and scream it, or I'm going to sing at the top of my lungs. Whatever gets the energy out of you. Because remember, energy is neutral. We're allowed to use it in multiple ways. So we have to go, okay, I'm feeling all this energy. Now, how do I use it? And what do I do with it? Right. And so that's, I think, you know, giving ourselves permission to be where we are. You know, going forward, we're going to get anxious. Going backward, we're going to have regret. All we have is right now. This is no day but today. This is it. You're in the day. And you're fine in the day, and that's okay. Yeah.
One of the things with having, you know, a lot of our freedom or our mobility and it's making me realize how much that when people say appreciate everything you have, when you have, like, enjoy, appreciate, give gratitude for what we have in this moment. You know, as I was this morning preparing for this, I was thinking, gosh, you know, I took it for granted that I could just go down to the beach. I can't do, you know, and I don't want to sound like a little baby on Maui. I know that makes me sound real spoiled, but, you know, I took it for granted that I could do certain things. And now it's like, no, you can't. The beaches are closed and you're not supposed to go out of your house. And so no more of that. But it makes me think about what I have right now that I might not be appreciating. So what do I have right now that I can appreciate in it? So that I don't ever look back and go, I should have appreciated that. You know, what my health, my children, you know, the things that are here right now. So,
well, and that's the other part of the energy of this week. Mercury is in Pisces, which is a very emotional placement for Mercury. Meaning being logically likes flying in the air and seeing things in big picture and communicating. And right now he's in the ocean, right? So we're all more wet emotionally. And we're all working from a deep intuitive place, but that also means we're more prone to pick up others. We're also more sensitive. And because he's going to be coming up to join up with Neptune, which is the planet of the ocean, we're all going to be running a little more soggy, a little more emotional. Also, Mercury in Pisces can be a little paranoid. So avoid the stuff, like if somebody mailed me something and said, this scared the shit out of me, watch it. And I wrote back and I on those things. I'm not watching the scary stuff. I don't need to watch that. It's not good for me. It'll infect me. So what the opposite is really focusing on consciously on your blessings, because Neptune higher and lower is drug and alcohol. I got an email from a mother who'd taken her son through a long addiction process, and he's picking up again. So this is also those of you who have addiction issues, they can pick up. It's understanding, get on the internet because you can't go to a meeting. Get on the internet and find a room. Call your friend, call your sponsor. But that's lower form Neptune, transformation through drugs and alcohol. Higher form Neptune is connecting into that spiritual place, that source of life that we all have, that sense of gratitude about what's important to us. And when we sit in the gratitude space, we're tuned into that Neptune, the higher Neptune. Neptune also is the art projects and the creative projects and Stephen Colbert's cooking. He said, I'm going to gain a lot of weight because he's a Virgo rising. I'm positive. And he cooked because that's how I relieve my stress. And we want to kind of look at with support and nurturance from like a spiritual place. We can't go to church. There's no church. We can't go to yoga class. Those things that used to nurture us in that space, but we know how to do that. We've done that before. So have a little mass for yourself. Have a little yoga class for yourself. Do your meditation. Do the oming. The oming tunes you up and it makes your insides vibrate. So just sit there and om for 10 minutes and make yourself hum, Go ahead. I'm talking a lot.
So good. It's so good. And it's, the other day I was in the shower and I felt hard.
Yes.
I felt hard the closing of the beaches. Like I have to say the ocean has such a sanctuary for me. One of the main reasons I'm here. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I felt it. And then I was sitting in the shower and I got that as above, so below, as within, so without, the ocean is in you. The ocean is in you. And it's one of the reasons why I'm wearing this flower and surrounding myself with flowers is because
in the back there. Yeah.
Yes, because of the electromagnetic field and the vibration in these things, and that pulling them closer to my body right now feels really important to neutralize the energy. So we have these things available, whatever it is for you, for a lot of people, essential oils or Bach flower essences, or the things that help you really stay in that connected place again, because those are the places where solutions exist. Those are the places where possibilities exist. Those are the places where there is no confinement. So however we can access them, like you're saying, is it yoga in your house? Is it oming? Is it, whatever is your method to get into that place where you are incubated, so to speak, from the onslaught of the other types of energies that aren't helping you. I think that's one of the questions we need to ask ourselves is, okay, some of it might be true, some of it might not be true. We don't know. But is it helping me? Is it helping me stay centered? Is it helping me stay clear? Is it helping me? The answer to any of that is no. Then I don't really know what good it is to know, quote unquote. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because go ahead.
Yeah, as you're buying it. And remember, when we're busy running around, we're not, we're busy here and we go, and we leave. And we have to sit with it, and we have to take it inside and work with it. One of the beauties of Capricorn planets is the solitude, because it's a solitude planet. And all Capricorns have that solitude, and a lot of us don't live in solitude. A lot of us live in busy. And so this is saying go into solitude, and then when you're in solitude, stuff comes up. And when it comes up, it's like, oh, I hid that because of the busy, or I didn't deal with that because of the busy. And now it's up, and now you have to go, okay, then I have to figure out how to work with it. And Saturn is a work word. He uses the word work. How are you going to work with that? And then you want to come up with, like, I'm really mad at it. I'm like, okay, you can be really mad at it. I get it. Your life just blew up. It's not what you wanted. It's gone. Now what? Mad, rail, scream, yell, get out your drums, and then go, okay, got it out of me, because you don't want it in you. Depressed. Anger is, Mars turned inward. But the planets are pressing us down. They're having us stop. They're having us pause. It's a universal, it's a worldwide stop. So go look at the art in the art shows. They have all you can go on. They go look at the pictures of the beautiful places in the world that dream of the future. What's that look like? And be kind. and honoring that we're in this intense space of transformation. We've actually last week we used the butterfly analogy, and we're all getting into our cocoons right now. Some of us a little less willingly, but we're all being told to go to your cocoon, hang out, transform. You can do this. Yeah. And it's important to honor that. Sometimes you're like, I don't want to go in a cocoon, or, oh, thank God, a cocoon. And then there's other people in the healthcare industry who have no respite. They're on the front lines. My job is to stay home, but I can call my healthcare professional people and send them love and support, and because they're on the front lines. They're doing the work of the pandemic for us. So however we can love them, however we can support them.
And one of the things that you've talked about in the past is when you're building the house or tearing down the house and you see the rot underneath the floorboards.
Yes.
And what you just described about the things that we've covered up in our business, in our distraction, in our numbing, and then now being forced on so many levels to see those things that we've covered up because we have to stop. That process is unnerving and intense for people because there's been so much avoidance of those things. I want to offer that one of the things you said, I remember this from like a talk a while ago. I don't even know if it was maybe a year ago, that we need to when we can move into gratitude for those things, for being able to see them, then we're in a position to build a new house without the rot at the foundation. So it's being able to get to a place eventually, right? Doesn't all happen all at once, but eventually of, okay, I needed to see that. I needed to see what was underneath the floorboards, because if I had kept building my house on that rotten foundation, then it wouldn't work long term. It's not sustainable. Right. So there's that process of finding the gratitude for the unveiling, for the illumination of what isn't working. And this, I think, is happening for people at a personal level. It's happening for all of us at a collective level. And it's not easy and it's not fun, but it's necessary on a deep level. Yes. So.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Amanda. That's the Pluto part of this transformation. Pluto is the decay and the rot. It's the mold in the basement. So anybody that's ever had mold in the basement or radon in their house, which is kind of an upstate New York problem, it's like, oh, that has to be abated. And when we renovate something, very often we're having a Pluto transit. And really what we're having renovated right now is our countries, our concept of government. Pluto's in Capricorn, the sign of government and big business and corporations and governments. And so we're looking at the structures that we've built to support us, and we're seeing where the foundation is weak. I was up at a friend's house in Lilydale visiting, and I was standing on her deck taking pictures, and my foot fell through the deck. I was just standing there taking pictures, and I went, Patricia, my foot fell through the deck. And she's like, oh, well, I know I've been needing to replace this, so this is good because I'm here in a couple of months. So I guess I need a new porch. And so if we watch the part that are a little rotted, it doesn't mean the whole thing has to be replaced, but that section that's bad has to be taken out, and we have to pull it out. Like if you tear down your wall and you see there's a leak and you see there's mold, abate that problem. And that's what this time is for. We've seen it, and now we have to figure out what we're going to do with it. And that's the journey we're going to be on this year too. That renovation of the renovation, like once you see it, with astrology, and what I love about it is once you see it, you can't deny it for a while. I'm totally good with that, but it's there, right? And so then how do we work with it energetically? Positively, with the idea being, okay, mold, wow, how bad is the mold? Do I get the bleach out? But I also, if it's too toxic, I have to leave it. If it's too toxic, we're going to carry it down. So my sister lives in Florida. They have termites there. And there was a house that hadn't been sold. I think it was an estate. And the house collapsed because the termites ate it, right? And I was like, the house collapsed? And my sister was like, yeah. And the whole neighborhood was upset because that meant the termites were now moving, right? Because where they'd been living was really jolly, and now time for a new house. So we want to watch for termites. We want to know that this is okay. You know, what do I have to do about this, and how do I have to do it? Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's a big job, but it also is, you know, it's happening for all of us to look at, and everybody. The nice part is everybody in the whole world is having it. So you can pick the positive versions of this. You can pick the scary versions. I have consciously said I'm not reading any of the scary stuff. I'm going to hang out with the scientists. That makes me happy. My Virgo's happy. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to follow the rules. My Virgo is happy doing that. And honoring what your chart needs to do to make you feel happy in this transformation, but that we're all going through it. Yeah, big.
So, Anne, we got to the 26th. So,
yeah,
Anne,
okay.
What we were trying to do, which is hilarious.
Oh, I mean,
maybe it's not possible for us. What we were trying to do was go day by day.
Yes.
You could like follow along day by day, but
mm-hmm.
we're a work in progress as well. So
okay, so the 26th is like, if you look at my sheet here, you see that's the 26th. 26th is the big day because Eris gets activated, Mars gets activated. And we kind of roll out of that day with a new vision of what we want to do. So we're going to be like, all right. Now remember, when Eris was activated before, she was Joan of Arc. She was Kepler, Galileo discovering Earth revolved around the sun. She was the feminist, Margaret Sanger in birth control, Victoria Woodhull. She was Tesla. She was Carl Jung. She was
and
people that transform people. Huh?
What do you mean? You mean Eris was strong in those people's charts? Like what are you saying?
Yeah, she was strong in those charts, and she stepped forward and she said, this is how we're going to do it. And Eris, of course, sometimes she gets a bad rap because she is a little forceful. But those people went and said, this is my vision of what I have to do now, right? And so she's very active this week too with, oh, that's what I have to do, right? Mm-hmm. So a couple weeks ago, January 26th, Eris squared Pluto, and that was when Kobe Bryant died here in the United States, which was, you know, very big in the States because he was a basketball player and relatively famous. I mean, I'm not a basketball person, but the whole country kind of stopped, and we saw, you know, people crying over him. And so Eris this week is meeting Jupiter. So Jupiter says, harness that transformative energy and use it in a way that you can transform things. But also Eris is the goddess of discord, so she can pop it through discord. You know, Martin Luther hanging his theses on the wall. So we're seeing the fight in our Congress here about how do we take care of the people or the corporations. And the last time we did this in January of 2008, we took care of the corporations. And now we're saying, no, we have to take care of the people. Right? And not just just throw money. This is the transformation that Pluto in Capricorn is making globally. What is your government doing for you? What are the corporations doing? What are the structures doing for you? Are they supporting you or not? So if you got a whole bunch of people hungry, not good. But Eris, Nancy Pelosi is a sun Eris. That woman is, you know, you may love her or hate her, but she's a sun Eris. Mitch McConnell is an Eris. So we're seeing Eris battle it out. What vision works, right? And so our job, that's what we're going to witness. We're going to witness them fighting. But again, as above, so below, we're going to see it out in the world. We're going to see it in our houses too. So yeah, so that's the 26th. That's kind of
a question we can use to work with that Eris energy would be maybe what needs to be transformed.
Yes.
What I mean, when you talked about a lot of those people, there was a lot of innovation beyond what seemed possible at the time.
Right. So the higher form of that is the company's going, we can make ventilators. Right. The higher form is let's go into action and manufacture stuff to, you know, like they use the quote here, you know, we're in a war. This is the ventilators are our bombs. We need the bombs. So we went into war, we manufacture bombs. So Jupiter square Eris says, what's the innovation you can take to do this transformation?
So what's the innovation beyond what we can see right now as a possibility? What is that innovation? And then opening ourselves up to answers or solutions that seemed crazy before, because they weren't even in the realm.
They weren't even in the realm of doing it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So what about the 27th? So that's the big day, the 26th.
27th, we rest, which is good. We need a rest. That's Taurus. We go, oh, okay, we're going to do that. And we rest and we are more comfortable. The 28th, we get a little bit of, restless fever. Like I need to get out because it's Gemini. And so that'll be a lot about talking and connecting with people. And then we really start to innovate on the 30th. And we say, okay, because Mars gets out of Capricorn. He now knows how he's going to collaborate with the group to create what he needs to create. So we're going to feel like, okay, I got this. I can do this. Mm-hmm. But we have to watch the paranoia of the Mercury coming to Neptune, because that's part of this journey. But also, one of the things that I love about this, and I've what I look at when I'm on the internet, things that are helping, that are saying, okay, we can do this. And people stepping forward and saying, I can help this way. And we've seen it like with Katrina, when people came in with water, when people came in with stuff, we're all in this together. Our government is not going to be able to help us, quote unquote, the way we would want to. It's just not possible. They're like this little group of people, and really the answer comes from the people, right? So we're in the section of Saturn and Aquarius. What are the group going to do? What can the group do to support it? What can you individually do to support the group? So I can do this astrology stuff with you.
Exactly.
Right.
And what isn't that part of the shift from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius as well? Because from my understanding, the age of Pisces is more like the powers out there, the power is going to save me, whether that's religious power, whether that's government power, or, whatever, the authorities outside of me. Whereas the age of Aquarius is more about the inner authority. Mm-hmm. And the power that we each have as individuals to shift, change, support, etc. Am I interpreting that correct?
You are interpreting that correctly. And so what that phenomena is called precession of the equinoxes, and we know that it takes about 2,500 years for the planets to shift. And so, we had the song, The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius, right? Quality and understanding, sympathy and love abounding. Go listen to that by the fifth dimension, I think. And so we moving from Pisces, which is the oceans separated us, and now we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is airwaves. So the minute we walked on the moon, the astrologers argue what happened, but we walked on the moon and we saw this pretty little blue and green planet, and we went, wow, we live there, and look at all the emptiness around us. That we're this little, can watch. We can look at Italy, we can look at Tokyo, we can look at traffic jams. We're connected. And so what the Aquarius age is understanding we're all interconnected and all interdependent, but we're all related, right? So we're not alone vibe. We're part of a group. And so what the internet has given us over the years is we have our groups, right? That's one of the complaints about it. But we can find the people that are interested in purple dinosaurs and have a purple dinosaur collection in their living room. They're a group out there for you, and you can find them all over the world. So using the humanity of how we connect and create, that's the Aquarian ideal. The lower form of Aquarius is I get mine, you don't get any. And so that's what we're guarding against as we're going through this big transformation, or that's one of the things we have to look at, that you're a kid out partying on the beach and you're going to bring the virus home to your family. Right? So we're all interconnected. So we have to not do that. That's why we're all by ourselves. But we're also then looking and saying, but we are all interconnected. So it's a really interesting, as an astrologer I've been watching this for a while going, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? And now it's here and I'm like, wow, this is bigger than we could ever have imagined. We're sitting on the edge of history, watching it be made. And each one of us is incarnated for a purpose. Our chart describes it. And what are we here to do? You started Astrology Hub a few years ago. I started being an astrologer a few years ago. And here we are uniting on this beautiful internet. And we're talking to people all around the globe and saying, this is how you work with astrology to get where we're going next. Mm-hmm. What a miracle that is. What a wonderful, positive way to think about it. And that's what we're all going through, is we're shifting into a new level of consciousness about our interdependence in the world and how connected and related we are to everybody.
Absolutely, Anne. And one of the things I've been noticing with a lot of the people I'm speaking with is that those decisions that people have made, it's obviously started when you were born, but especially 2012, 2013, 14, 15, those decisions that you made that set you up for where you're at right now hold so many clues. Yes. Not only decisions, but the things that you battled. Maybe it was illness, maybe it was divorce, maybe it was losing everything and building again, and whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And it has clues for what your role is right now. And one of the things that is speaking really loudly, and we just have to listen and trust what it's telling us, but it's alive and active. And so there are things you can clue into to get ideas about what it is that you're, because even people that are wanting to be positive, I've noticed there's like, well, but what can I do? I can't really do anything right now. It's like, well, right now there's maybe limitations around how much we can do, but be cultivating that inner strength, that inner fire, that inner compassion, that inner joy, whatever it is that needs to be cultivated so that you can do the next thing, and use, like, eke as much as you can out of this time of quiet and stillness. And yes, it's forced upon us, but one of the things I was thinking, this island, Maui, gets so pounded every single day by so much energy, so many people, so much, and it's a small little island, and this is just my little microcosm, right? I'm thinking about what's happening here. And yes, it's hard that we can't go to the beach, but maybe the coral will come back. The coral sunscreen and all the pollution in the water, maybe the coral will come back. Maybe the fish will get to come back. What are the positive outcomes that could happen from this time? And, like I'm realizing my own selfish tendency to want to be able to do what I want to do. But it's like, well, check that and maybe see that there could be something better for everybody, including the ocean, including the fish, including the people, So I think this is a huge invitation for us, and we're so in it. And what you said before, us all being in it together is actually such a blessing, because I know many of you who have gone through really challenging times in your life, including myself. Normally you're doing it somewhat alone, where it's like, yeah, you can find other people going through it, but the majority of people around you are not. And I'm not saying misery loves company. It's just that we can all learn together. Right. We can all, grow together. We can share off each other what we're learning and how we're managing it all. So it's big. It's big. It's like you said, we kept saying it's going to be big, but it's like, oh my God, this is bigger than we could have ever.
It's kind of like, really, global pandemic wasn't even in my vocabulary, but we're here. So then we go, okay, what global pandemic? Wow, what can I do? Well, when I look at my cycles, and I will refresh them again, 82, 83, my mom got sick and died and said, take care of your dad. He's not as tough as he looks. So my dad passed last August. So I was like, all right, well, that was what, I've done other things, but that was one of my big jobs, right? The other cycle is 90, 91, and that was when I started a computer business. Then the other cycle was 2000, and that was when I left to be an astrologer full-time. And then 2007, and that was when I started writing my column, December of 2008. December of 2007, January of 2008. So if I combine those 4 cycles, I go, okay, who am I supposed to take care of now? Because I have that kind of chart. and doing it through astrology and doing it through writing and communicating. So I'm like, oh, you guys are my new assignment. I'm supposed to take care of the world. Now it sounds a little grandiose, but my section of the world.
Exactly.
I can do I can do my garden.
Exactly.
And so if you combine, everybody think, if you weren't born then, ask your folks, but fall of 82, spring of 83, 90, winter of 90, spring of 91, 2000, and then December of 2007, January of 2008. And of course, when we're doing the bailout here in the United States, that was when we had the financial collapse, and we bailed out the corporations, and they said they were too big to fail. Well, now everybody's failing, right? So it's like, hey, like, take care of us. Last time our houses left, the banks got the money. Don't let our houses go. So New York, Cuomo, God bless his soul, he banned evictions for 90 days. And then he said to the realtors, he goes, and you can't rent anyway because that's a banned business. So just leave them in their house for 3 months. You're going to survive. It's understanding we're having this huge aha moment globally. If you think of those cycles, that's where Amanda says for you to look for your clues, because that's where they are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in your case, what you also added 2007, or 2004, I think you said, right?
2000.
You noted people from those times.
I was saying 2000. Well, I was just saying 2012 to 2015, 2016-ish.
Okay.
Seemed like a massive wave of people's realities shifting on a very, very deep level.
Okay.
It was like a big like tidal wave of consciousness, I think, that came through for a lot of people at that time.
Got it.
And it's, the Mayan calendar and those kinds of things corresponding. But the other thing I was thinking, Anne, as you were speaking, is the idea that you brought up about your role and what you're meant to take care of right now. I always think of that as like your realm. Yes. What is your realm? Mm-hmm. And for me, my realm is Astrology Hub /Hug. So yes, it is part of my work to be caring for you, all of you. And, but everybody's realm is different. Maybe your realm is your home right now, or maybe your realm is your garden, or your realm is your community or your kapuna, your elders, the people that you're caring
for, or your cop on the streets. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Exactly. So tuning into or asking yourself that question, like, what is my realm? What isn't my realm? Like, where am I not to get involved? Because I'm not here for that. And just getting clear on things like that. I think, again, using this time of quiet, using this time of inwardness to ask ourselves these kinds of questions, to journal about it, to talk to friends about it, to be in that space is very constructive for what is coming next, which none of us know. I love Adam Summer, and I don't know who said this originally, said, we don't know enough to worry. Like, we don't know enough to worry. We don't have enough information to worry or think we know what's going to happen either way. So why do it? Right. It's a waste of energy. Mm-hmm. So, and I know that we all go there. Trust me. I'm like,
well, yeah, I mean, I go there,
Talk about guarding the mentality. Like, this is some serious work right now. So yeah, again,
and everybody's going to be a little extra porous this next couple of days till Mercury gets to Neptune, which is April 1st. So April 1st is a really big turning point for everybody, because there's like 3 things that happen then. Mars hums to Saturn, says, okay, what's next? Because a lot of places are through the 31st, 1st of April. Then Jupiter and Pluto meet, and they go bigger, it's bigger. And then Mercury and Neptune meet, and they go, oh, now what? So there's a grounding that happens then, which is what we're building up to. So we want to kind of just be very honoring of the emotional nature of the Mercury and Pisces Neptune, the anger nature of the Mars loaded up with Pluto, aspecting Eris, the expansion of the feisty, the need for comfort on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the idea of, okay, how do I do this? What do I do? and maybe a little extra depression on the weekend because the moon's in Gemini, but he's answering to that Mercury in Pisces. And remember the 5 stages and go, oh, I'm feeling depression. Okay, I'm being pressed upon. Let me go press myself into my bed and cry. Okay, now I'm feeling better. Okay, let me cook. Okay, now I'm feeling better. Let me go for a walk. It's watch yourself cycle through them. Watch your family members cycle through them. Naming it is claiming it. That's the beauty of this. Name it and claim it and go, okay, that's what we were talking about. Okay, now what did they say to do, or what makes me feel better if I do that? Let me, punch a hole in the wall. I'm good with that. But if you break your hand, there may not be a place to get it fixed.
maybe a pillow.
Punch a hole in a pillow, but walls are more satisfying.
That's true.
Throw a dish, like those the good. But understand that the energy amps, and the new moon says, what we're seeding now, we harvest when we get to December. So this is a seeding energy. So we want to it's a 30-day cycle, but it's also a 2.5-year cycle. And so it's getting seeded in the middle of this. And obviously, really taking care of yourself and living in a place of happiness and gratitude. If you live in fear, it kind of makes you, if you smile, it like actually boosts your immune system,
It does.
Go watch comedies on TV and laugh,
And what you're saying about planting seeds right now for December is huge, because if you think about it, one of arguably the most important things for the seed is the soil. And so the soil right now, if we're talking metaphorically, would be the energy of our thoughts.
Yes.
The energy of our words, the energy of the environment we're creating. Like those are the things that are the soil. The things that we are allowing into our sphere would be the fertilizer. So like you said, comedies or, feel good movies and things that are helping you to feel better. This would be the things that would be fortifying the soil. And then there's a seed being planted, which to me, so many times is not something we're conscious, like, what is the seed? What is the seed? I don't think we're thinking it. It's coming to us. It's being planted in us. And so being receptive enough. I mean, if we're constantly chattering with all of our worry and all of our noise, we can't even receive the seed. We can't be open enough for it. One of the things that, and for those of you that are new to astrology, this is going to sound nuts, but I talked to the planets. I went outside this morning. The sky was dark. I looked at the stars and I said, thank you for reminding us about your brightness in darkest times. You're always shining there for us. And one of the things I got was, you need this time of silence so that we can keep talking to you. Like, stop talking and being worried and
clenching, right?
Clenched. You need to be open enough so that we can talk to you. So enough chatter. Maybe we should just button it up. Okay, let everybody go in their little.
I'm going to add one more thing, because sometimes this is helpful. We are all having a collective Pluto transit. So when we're going through a Pluto transit, we go through this transformation. So sometimes what I say to people when they're having one, like we've been talking, like be happy, be up. Sometimes I say, go read a book like the Donner Passage or Into Thin Air, where they're climbing on Mount Everest and they get caught in a snowstorm and they poor guy who's got snow blindness and nobody helps him down the mountain. And I'm reading the book going, what the hell? And I'm like, well, I will never climb Mount Everest anyway. But, like sometimes if you read these heroic, transforming through the fight, those are helpful too, because they give you inspiration that other people have gone through hard times and survived it. So I'm not going to say just happy. I'm going to give you like, go read Into Thin Air or go read the Donner. They ate each other, because that's how they could survive. But they were already dead, But it's understanding we don't have to do it that way, because we're just home in our nice houses with our tulips and our flowers and the cats, and we have food and we have people working on things, and we're here, and it's okay, so I don't want everybody to go, God, it's so fucking happy.
It's so true. Actually, those inspiring, like, hero's journey stories are actually even more like soul stirring at this time. I have a recommendation for you all. Oh my God. And now, gosh, what are the Yetis? The white, I watched it with the girls. Abominable.
Abominable Snowman.
It's a children's movie. It's called Abominable.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Christmas movie. It's awesome. It's so good. It's so inspiring. And it is, the good against evil, the light against dark. But I love the children's movies because they do the archetypes really just blatantly. They just play it out, and it really speaks to the soul. So you're right. It's not all about just like happy. And also you can bypass with that too, right? I'm just going to numb out on things that don't make me think about or like be in what's happening now. So yes, good point. I'm glad that you added that.
Yeah. So watching the Black Panther movie, watching Star Wars, George Lucas did that movie based on the planets. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, C-3PO, and R2-D2 are Gemini. It's got all the archetypes. He based it on the planet.
Oh, we need to go through that next time. Can we map it out?
Darth is Saturn. Yeah, and at the end of the movie, you kind of like Darth,
right? Well, and it's the father and the
whole transformation and the choices we make. Yeah, so everybody tune into George Lucas's Skywalker. Yeah.
That's really cool. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. We will be here again next week for the astrological weather with Anne Ortelee. And I just want to send all of you so much love, and we're going to continue offering more things. I have another live plan tomorrow with Natasha Alter. I have a very special guest that I'm bringing on Friday. His name is Trevor Blake. So we're going to keep hugging you, astrology hugging you as much as possible. And I just want to thank you for tuning in. So if you want to be notified when things go live or when things are available, you can go to astrologyhub.com/podcast. Sign up to get alerts whenever a new podcast episode is live. That's going to allow us to email you but basically what I'm doing is emailing a summary of all the resources that are available to you every week. So you can sign up there, astrologyhub.com/podcast. You can sign up to, on Facebook or Instagram, you can get alerts when we go live. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We also started a Medium channel. So we're turning these Facebook Lives into articles for those of you who like to read things. So we are just doing whatever we can to make as much astrology helpful, useful, empowering, transformative, astrological perspectives available to you. So thank you very much for tuning in and for being here, for being a part of our community, for making astrology a part of your life. We are so grateful. And thank you for being here again, and your unique perspective and the way that you transmit the energies is so special. It's such a gift. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you
sharing.
for doing this. Yeah.
All right, everybody.
May we all be well. Yeah.
Maybe all be well. Please chat to us. We love to communicate with you after these lives. If you're watching this live or on our platforms where you can chat, if you are listening on the podcast, then come on over to the social media platforms so we can talk. Right. All right. Take care, everybody, and we will see you soon.
Bye. Next week. Take care.